Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to Redhead Rumble, the one channel on this platform that is severely opinion-based. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the new TKO Fight League. There's been an article written on Boxing Scene regarding how much they think general purses are going to be, what the schedule sort of looks like in terms of breaking down how much you're going to earn if you're in a certain position, if you're unranked, if you're a champion. So let me inform you of what we know from the article. So we're led to believe, as per this report, that boxers are looking at making anything from 25 grand, which is dollars by the way, up to 750. So it ranges from sort of 20 to 25 up to $750,000. GBP, obviously a little bit less, but nothing to be sniffed at. The schedule on these contracts that they're looking at offering is going to be 4 fights a year on probably a 3 or 4 year deal. So that they're long enough to commit to the league format, the system. People will probably get swapped in and swapped out. However, it's not a bad thing at all. As mentioned in my previous video, the merger between Riyadh Season or Turki Al Sheikh and Seller with TKO and why they have changed the face of boxing probably forever. They've completely overhauled the landscape of boxing probably forever. I do believe that the target demographic for fighters within these leagues is going to be your younger fighters, 100%. They're probably looking at junior to amateurs, up on that level, or near enough that level. The reason being, these guys obviously have never received a full professional boxing purse. I mean, when we like to compare the likes of your UFC and your boxing, we normally compare the top 20% of boxers to UFC fighters that fight on undercards. So say a UFC fighter may have a 10-10, which often is the case of 10,000 appearance, 10,000 win, and then obviously you have the 50 Gs. There's no other way to say it. For a KO or fight of the night or performance of the night. So it's important to put this into true context and say that if you compare this sort of format to boxers that do small hall shows or journeyman or anyone like that, these guys are earning nowhere near 10, 15 grand a fight at all. Remember, these guys have to sell tickets. They have to sell tickets, normally pay for their opponent. If you put it into that sort of context, then this league format actually sounds a hell of a lot more sweeter for the fans and the fighters than it does the promoters and the broadcasters. Now, everyone has a problem with Dana White and how the UFC's ran, and like I mentioned before, the comparison between their top fighters and the top boxers in the world does show an alarming sort of different figure or sum that's involved. However, compare that to the PFL and everywhere else in its sport. The contracts the fighters are on, they're on good. It's good. Like, you look at the underground scene of MMA in America, and again, it's just like boxing. You have to sell tickets. You have to, pay the promoter sometimes. Sometimes you're not even earning for a fight, literally. So in this format, or this league format that we're going to be looking to be introduced with the TKO group, I imagine it's going to be called the TKO League. Are we just going to call it that? Are we going to reference it as that? Does it make more sense to reference it as the TKO League? Probably a better idea. So in theory, now that with this system, those fighters don't have to sell tickets. They don't have to worry about paying promoters. They don't have to worry about paying their opponents. It's all taken care of, and it's a 4-fight guarantee in the year. Obviously, injuries don't count. So imagine you've just gone from being a 6-0 fighter from Sheffield and you train at Dave Coldwell's gym, and you're only 17, and then they say, oh, we like the look of you, you're a big sterling heavyweight, oh, do you want to come and join the TKO League at the heavyweight division? Oh, what's my guarantee? Well, my guarantee is 15 grand a fight times by 4, so that immediately brings you to 60 grand a year, and you're going to fight all over the world. You're going to have the promotion, the social media, you're going to have a massive profile, and you can always renew. But for the next 3 years, we want you to fight with us. So from the age of 17, as an example, from the age of 17 to 20, you could potentially see a huge star being born, being made. I think your performance bonuses are going to be included in this league as well. It didn't mention this in the article, but I believe that that's the system. I think that keeps fighters, a lot of fighters, sweet on the in the UFC. Apparently there's going to be 7 weight classes, which helps everyone. As I was watching a podcast the other day from the Fight Disciples, Nick actually clarified that there was 32 world champions within the WBC. I'm sorry, how the fuck does that work? How does that work? It's beyond belief. How can one boxing organisation have 32 world champions? So let's just say, on an average, they pay a 3% sanctioning fee. So immediately, out of all of those fighters, let's say the average that they'll probably earn, if they're a world champion, might we add, world champion. So I'm just going to do quick maths now. You all get paid 50 grand a fight minimum. Obviously some get more, but hear me out. So they get 50 to 100 grand. So in fact, we'll call it 100 grand. We'll call it 100 grand, right? 100 grand divided by 3%. So what's the 3%? That's 3 grand. Times that by 32. The WBC, just for having their name there, having their badge plastered all over the ref's gear, having everything else plastered everywhere, the belts, you know, Maurizio making new belts, they've earned for nothing, 32 times 3 is 96. They've just earned 96 grand. Do you see what I mean? That's close to 100k for what? For every time their world champions fight. And you can bet your bottom dollar that doesn't include intercontinental champions and other people such as that. So let's talk sense about money and what fighters are actually going to get paid in this league. So apparently you're going to get 20 grand dollars, obviously, if you're an unranked and it's a 10 rounder. So even if you get invited as a bit of a preliminary signing, you're still getting 20k. You tell that to any boxers that are aspiring up in Leeds and everywhere else. Listen, mate, you don't have to fight in that swimming pool or that swimming leisure centre. You're actually going to fight over in Madison Square Garden on the undercard of a TKO bill. They're going to snatch your hand off. The context needs to exist, because I feel like a lot of people are running away with it now. If you're between 5th and 10th in your ranking of your weight, so welterweights as an example, 50 grand a fight. Now obviously times that by 4, it's 200k a year. Then you times that by 3, exactly, $500,000. Now don't get me wrong, there's coaches to pay, there's taxes to pay, there's everything else, but you're still probably earning a fair sum there for being considered as one of the better champions. There's no shitty bull crap with the promoters. You know, you're getting that's fixed. No problem at all. You don't have to sell tickets. You don't have to worry about that shit. You just turn up, perform, keep in the rankings. That's your guarantee. If you're 3 or 4, position, 125 grand per fight times 4. What's that, Jack, you may ask? $500,000. Times that by 3, 1.5 million. Imagine, this is what we're talking about. It's not stupid pay. It's not shit pay at all. Listen, boxers now, heavyweights, like Daniel Dubois probably made 10 million for beating up AJ. I get it. I do get it. That's fine. I get what the system is trying to do. But you know that they're going to offer pay-per-view points for big, massive fights. You know that they're going to mix it in with Riyadh season. So this is just, it's an article that gives a little bit more information to something that we're waiting for. We don't even know what the name of the company or what it's going to be. We don't even know the name of the brand yet. Title challengers, 375 grand. So if you're in and around that bracket, you're probably going to be close to making 2 to 3 million in a year, especially if you're having close fights. Think about it. Better BF Bivol. They're going to have 3 fights now. Think about that if you're second place and you've won the belt, and then you get 750 grand as a title defence. So as long as you can get within the top 4, you're making good money. And I feel like that's nothing to, be sniffed at, especially seeing as these leagues are going to be incorporated with younger fighters. So yeah, you'll see a couple of older fighters on there, but this is more than they've ever made. And you know that that's a fact. So please, going forward, when you're going to comment on things, when you're going to make videos like me, when you're going to post articles, keep in mind the context of who the demographic is. It's going to be young fighters, people that ain't got a pot to piss in. It offers more chances to people in leisure centres. You know, we might not have to watch Dave Allen, you know, fight terrible fights when he first starts his career at Sky Sports, gets dropped, gets picked up again, and he got lucky with a few big names because he just threw his hat in the ring. You don't have to do that anymore. You can sign up to this. Like, we might even see Johnny Fisher. You never know. These guys aren't... The money in boxing is complete and utterly down to how popular you are and how big you can make a fight. This takes that out of the window because they do it for you. That is the point that you have to press home. It doesn't matter if your name's Johnny Fisher or Joseph Parker. You're technically the same here. You're under the same umbrella and you've got a fixed income every year for 3 years, and you know that they're going to sign people to longer deals as well to keep it, you know, ever changing. You know, to keep it integral. I think this is going to be an integral part to the way that boxing will operate in the next 20, 30 years. I could be making a video on Redhead Rumble in 30 years' time, and this will be the format. This will be what everyone wants to watch. So, if you agree with me, or you have anything to depict, maybe dispute, let me know in the comments down below. Get involved. Let me know if I'm wrong. What's your opinion on it? You know, this is a channel where we want to hear from you. There's no point me doing this and then never hearing anything back. So by all means, let me know down below in the comments. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe as well. It always helps me out. And I will see you in the next video. Redhead Rumble signing out. Sayonara.